Greetings, Dr. Christina Esposito here, and welcome to the release video for March 16th, 2026. We have a lot in store for you today, so let's get started. We'll kick it off today with the release notes bar here that was added just recently, part of the new functionality of releasing these release notes and you getting access to this video. We made it so that you could easily pull those release notes back up and be able to review to see which ones you've read and which ones you have not yet read. But the issue was there was some overlap here. If you had a lot of patients in the queue, whether it be on the calendar view or on the provider view, the bar here was overlaying and you weren't able to see potentially some of the patients that were here. So that's been fixed. It will not overlay. If the amount of patients continues down, there'll be a scroll bar, so you'll be able to see all that information. If we go to the dashboard when you first log in, so for example, if we go back out here, and we go into our system view, the system view has this metrics dashboard. If you have multiple locations, this will allow you to see a compilation of data from all the locations. Under reporting, and the reporting dashboard will allow you to see the same information, but at the location level. So a couple changes that were made here. Under the metrics tab, number one, we now have this easy drop down for date selector. So you can very easily select what date range you want to see the data for. The second change that we made here was, if you see this records tab, the records tab shows you what was the highest amount of collections that you've had for a single day, for a single week, month, quarter, year. Same thing with number of visits and supplement sales. So a couple key metrics here um, across all the numbers. This allows you to see what the highest is at the network level, the system level. And then, of course, you can see the same thing at the location level. But this was pulled out into a separate tab because previously it was hidden under this metrics tab, but it made more sense that it's its own tab because it behaves very differently. We did add here the ability to only show active locations at the system level. So if you do have some inactive locations, that data will not be included. If you want it to be included, you can click on Include Inactive Locations. And then finally, under this records dashboard, we have the ability to select a specific location. And then you can see under the trends dashboard, same thing, we have the ability to either include or not include inactive locations. There was an update made to the modifiers. So when you are adding a modifier, previously it was a little bit difficult to be able to scroll through the many modifiers that were listed. It was all in a single column line, and the save button was at the very bottom. So you had to scroll through and keep scrolling, select the modifier, and then you could save. And sometimes if you forgot that you had to hit the save button, you may select one and then try to exit out and you wouldn't see that save button. So if we come in here and I add a transaction, you can see it's automatically adding this 52 modifier. If I wanted to make a change to that, you can see the screen is very different here. So number one, we've added the descriptions for the modifiers. Number two, you can see the ones that are selected are up here at the top of the screen. We've selected one of four. You can only use a maximum of 4 modifiers, so this allows you each time you select a modifier, now you can see we've selected 2 of 4. The other nice thing here is you can see that that cancel and save button is frozen at the bottom of the screen, so as I scroll down, we can always see that save and cancel. And finally, we have this search bar. So if we wanted to search for, let's say, the 25 modifier, we can simply put the number or the description in there and then hit select, and then we can save. Another exciting update is that CoreHD now supports an integration with the clearinghouse Availity. So if you come into initial setup and you go under integrations, you'll see an option for clearinghouse here. It's the same place that you would connect with either Office Ally or TriZetto, you can see there's now an option for Availity. So if you select Availity, you will need to enter the SFTP username and password. This is the information that you will get from Availity. They'll be able to provide this with you, and that will allow you to send claims out through CareHG to Availity as the clearinghouse. So the integration functionality does not support having ERA files come into CareHD yet. It's just being able to send the claims out to the clearinghouse to then be processed. We've also made some great improvements to the GHL or Go High Level integration within CareHD. So for those of you that are using Go High Level, you'll be excited to learn that if we come into the initial setup under integrations, and we're going to click on Go High Level, you can see here as I scroll down, there's a section now that has appointment mapping status. So this now gives you a lot of flexibility on how the appointment status is mapped from outbound CareHD into GHL or inbound from GHL into CareHD. So depending on how you have your trigger set up in Go High Level, you may want to have some very specific mapping having to do with the appointment status in CareHD and how it communicates to Go High Level. So if you click Edit here, you have full control over this moving forward. Another update was done to the utilities under the document and X-ray file uploader. There was a bug that was discovered here where it was preventing some items from being uploaded, and that has recently been resolved. Under the insurance tab, for those that are utilizing, are in the ERA auto allocation beta test, there are several improvements that were made in order to better match the line items that come in from the ERA, the electronic file that's feeding into CareHD, and the data that's in CareHD. So previously, there was a lot more mismatches where the data wasn't matching exactly. And in those scenarios, you had to just manually enter that ERA. Now we are able to manage those mismatches right here in the system very easily. So some of the mismatches that were common was number one, the patient's name. Sometimes on the ERA, the patient's name was truncated. Let's say they had a hyphenated last name. And when the EOB came back, it only showed a partial name for that patient that did not match exactly in as the patient was listed in CareHD. So this will allow you, when you see that truncated name, you can actually select the patient and match it so that moving forward, anytime that that truncated name comes in a future ERA, it'll automatically be matched. The second item that was handled where there were some common mismatches was with the name of the payer. So again, the insurance company may be listed as one thing on the ERA and be slightly different in your system. Now we can do that match, and moving forward, it would not be an issue. The final thing that was handled, which was often a mismatch, forcing you to have to manually post the ERA, is a mismatch of modifiers. So in some scenarios, there may be a modifier in CareHD that was not on the ERA, or vice versa. In this scenario, it will allow you to either add a modifier or remove the modifier in CareHD if that's your intended outcome, or it'll keep CareHD and the ERA as they are, even though they don't match exactly, but it'll allow you to connect the two as a match and be able to process the ERA, automatically allocate those items. So the final issue that was resolved, or I should say improvement, is when we create an insurance case. So in this scenario, let's select an insurance case. And if we do not have insurance coverage listed here, it is an insurance case. If there were charges in this case and we were trying to bill out and do a batch claim to send those transactions off to a clearinghouse, if there's no insurance coverage listed here that match those dates of service, it will now create a green sheet. So it'll be on your radar so that you come in here and you'll be able to see under pre-claim scrub issues, you'll easily see the line item and it'll say that it is missing payer information and policy information, including the ID number and group number, the basics that are needed in order to send that claim out. So this is great because it allows you to make sure that you're sending those claims out in a timely manner and it doesn't fall off your radar. So that concludes the release video for March 16th, 2026. We'll see you on the next one.